I've never thought that I was much of a creative person. It was never like a career path, but when I tried the hot glass, it was just mind-blowing. Like, this is so cool. How does this work? This is magical. And I really liked that you had to work at it, and it was really, really difficult to harness the skills, and to make anything took years and years before I could actually make anything that was good enough. So it was actually really, really process driven, and I was more of a maths and science person because I like following a brief. I like that there's steps, there's a result at the end, makes sense. Art is really overwhelming because it's so hard to unpack and to make sense of. And so the way that I've come into art has actually been from more of a scientific, let's follow the brief, let's build this story, let's follow the steps to achieve this technique. The story behind it is what is important to me. And if people connect with a certain story, then I feel like just that connection and that conversation around artwork is valuable. My name's Emma Young, and I'm a glass artist, a glassblower, and I work out of Jam Factory in Adelaide. I am nervous. I'm also very, very excited. Yeah, I'm nervous because it's my first time doing anything like this. This is my very first solo exhibition. I don't just want to be a glass artist. Like, what's important to me about my work is sharing stories and having other people share their stories with me and being able to connect. I don't want it to come across as very self-absorbed and like, oh, la-di-da, come and look at me. I still want it to be about other people and about sharing stories. So it's really good actually that I can have my sisters on board helping me today, and them and my mum are going to help me with the opening setup. So I feel like I've prepared as much as I can. I'm nervous and excited, but I think it's going to come together. We've got 2 days left until opening night. My practice started out making work out of glass that celebrated the iconic South Australian. Because I'm born and bred in SA, I wanted to share what I think is really special about South Australia. And then it sort of has transformed over the past 8 years to be a lot more personal, and also to branch out to more of an Australian-wide story. So making work about Australian native flora and the colourful banknotes. And then more recently, with more exhibition work, it's been based on personal experiences through my childhood, but they're still using motifs familiar to people so that people can still connect with it and share their stories with me. People know me for the frog cakes and the FruChocs because they're very, very South Australian.
As somebody who came to South Australia from somewhere else, I grew up in Tasmania, it's great to see through Emma's eyes these iconic South Australian things like a Balfour's frog cake, which I had no idea what it was until Emma, in fact, told me all about them. And so many other things that are so important, particularly for childhood memories, those important coming of age and growing up moments. The sort of nostalgic things that reflect our childhood are kind of ripe with memory and emotional connection. I think that's a really important thing in Emma's work.
So each new thing that I make, I want to learn a new technique in glassblowing because it's so vast and amazing and magical. So with the watermelons, I saw it as a way to recreate this same image over and over, but using so many different techniques. And the story that I connected with the watermelon was going to my grandmother's place as a kid for family barbecues on the weekend. The sort of quintessential Australian barbecue with the family. And for dessert, we would have watermelon, and the kids would have to go out and eat the watermelon on the grass all together. So that story and that connection with watermelon is about family and about growth and about summer and about being a kid and playing around and sitting on the grass. And then it also reflects on my growth as a glassblower and trying all these new techniques. And I think that, well, I know that there's lots of people that connect with the watermelon because it's such a Aussie summer fruit. And so I've found that it's been a real connecting idea. For me to actually want to make something, there has to be a drive behind that, and the drive is the story, because it's hard to sort of justify, I'm gonna commit all this time and money to making this thing and this is the price tag for it, when it's just a nice thing. For something that I make, I wanna have my heart invested in that, because if someone is purchasing that from me, you know, that's a piece of me that goes with them. And if they can connect with that because of my story, then that's brilliant. That's what's so fantastic about being an artist. Classic speech on the iPhone. It's called a solo show, but nothing was done solo. It takes an army. The exhibition is not just the opening night, it's on for another month. And also I'm blowing glass at Jam Factory, so if you want to see how some of this artwork is made, come along. I really want there to be a good interaction between people. I make artwork to connect with people and to share stories. It was like a year's worth of work and build up to that one night. And I had a few people say to me on the night, it's like a wedding, you've invested all this time and energy for like a few hours and you don't even get to talk to everyone. I've basically got my whole career on display, and the reception from that has been really fantastic. So opening night was amazing. Lots of people came out and I'm just on a high, can't believe it. My advice for young creatives would be to surround yourself with people who will be beneficial to your goals, people who are supportive and encouraging. So for me, just being surrounded by all of these talented people who were doing similar things with different aesthetics and different ideas and different backgrounds, and also people to look up to. That's what's so fabulous about glass blowing. You don't ever make anything just yourself.